So let's build on the last video. You made a test file, and there's a couple different ways that you can open a pre-existing file. One is that you can click down here. You should see it down in the area down below. Or you can go to File, Open. I'm going to do that. Find your file. Mine happens to be on the desktop. Let's see here. There it is. So it's an AI file, a Adobe Illustrator file. Click on that and open. And one thing I would like to do, and I believe in the last video I had asked you to set your essentials, or they already came up that way. But what I would like to do is I'd like to go to the classic essentials. So you can see right here, and what I want you to pay attention to is this area up here. When I reset this for classic, you're going to see something happen here. So I'm going to click on Essential Classics, and you'll notice I have got this area up here, which I find very helpful. Also, this changed as well. So if you haven't done so, please go ahead and select Essential Classics. There we go. So I'm going to go through a few of the tools. I'm not going to cover all of them. But first of all, let me explain a little bit about the palette. As you can see, as I grab into this area up here, I can move it around. If I click here, I go back to this long type of toolbox. It's not my preference. You work with what pleases you. If I accidentally, oops, I clicked and I got rid of that. So what you do is you go to Windows and you find the toolbar. Ah, for crying out loud. Okay, there we go. I selected the advanced one. So another thing about the toolbar is on many of these tools, you will see, and I'm actually going to change tools here. Many of these tools, you will see a little triangle in the corner, in the bottom right-hand corner. And what this is telling you is that there are additional tools associated with that. So if I click here, I see that I have two tools in here. And let me step back just a moment. If you're not sure what the name of a tool is, all you simply need to do is put your mouse over the tool and wait for a couple seconds, and up will pop the name of the tool. I'm going to go over to this one because I know there's actually quite a few in there. So I'm going to put my pointer tool right there on that corner, and up pops the various types of type tool that I have. And to further, another nice little trick is if you like to pull off this and have it as a floating palette, what you do, and you have to be careful, you have to put your pointer tool right on that little triangle there and pull it out. So this is really handy, especially if you're doing something kind of intricate. Again, you have to get right on there and pull that out. Now let's say I don't need it anymore. It's that simple. It simply reverts back into this area. So we have a variety of tools, and I'm going to talk today about the shape tools and the selection tools. So I'm going to pull out the variety of shapes that I can work with. Again, I'm going to click right here on this little triangle. There we go. And I'm going to grab the rectangle tool. Now, I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to just make some tools. And let's say I want to change the colors of these. Well, first of all, with the shape that you want to alter with it selected, and you can tell it's selected here. It's got the handles on it and so on. I can come over here and I can switch this, for example. Now what this is this box tells me what, this tile is telling me what the fill is. And this one here is telling me what the stroke of the line is. So if I flip it around, I've got a white line with a black fill. What if I want to add color? Well, there's a variety of ways to do it. One quick way, not always the most accurate, but one quick way is to double click here, and up comes the color picker. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that fill red, and there we are. Now let's say I don't want that black line on there. As a matter of fact, I don't want any kind of, I don't want white on it, I don't want anything. If I go ahead and click on this one right here, and I say none, that fill goes away. I'm going to go Control Z and put that back on there because I would like to have that for the purposes of this discussion. And let's just say, for whatever reasons, you want to go back to the default. All you need to do is click here, and there you go. To move objects, you have 3 different pointer tools. Get this additional one up. Oops. And I'm going to have you work with just the selection tool at this moment. So let's go ahead and grab the selection tool. We're going to grab a hold of this, click and drag, click and drag. I can come in here. Now let me point something out. If you have no fill, I can't do it. So I have to, if that's the case, you need to get right on the stroke and move that. So if you ever have that happen and you're wondering what's going on, there you go. You have no fill in there. The other shapes that you have access to, the rounded corner. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this. And the circle. Just don't want that there. Now, I'm just going to stay with these, and I do want to point out there's other ways to use these. So if I wanted to, say, have a star that had more than 5 points to it, what you do is you grab the tool and you double click, and up comes this dialog box, and this is the case for all of these actually. And let's say I want to have 16 points in it. I say 16, and there we go. You can change things like the radius. So let's just try this with a 2 inches. So that's 2 point. And I'm going to make the second radius to be 0.5, so a little bit smaller than what we have there. Okay, so now let's see what happens. So let's go ahead and do the same with the circle tool. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to say I want that circle to be 3 inches, tab 3 inches. There we are. Okay, right now I want to get rid of all of these because I'm beginning to get a cluttered page. There's a few different ways that I can do that. one thing I can do is I can marquee. And to marquee, what that means is you click and you drag. Anything that it captures, you can take out. Let's say I want to get just this piece right here. So I have to be careful, but I click and I drag. That's a way to get rid of that. Let's say I have a lot of things on there and I want to get rid of everything on there. I can click and say select all, which is Control A, and go ahead and hit the delete key. Okay. Let's go back to the good old rectangle. I'm going to just do one here. And you will notice that I've got these little, these are called handles up here, okay? You'll notice I've got these little dots here. So and you see how I've got this kind of little curve underneath it. It tells me that I am able to change the curves on that. So let's say I want to make those, there we go. Let me move this out of the way so you can see it. Let's say I want it to be more so. I can click here. I'm sorry, going the wrong direction. And you can see how dramatically I can change those. But let's say that I don't want to do all of them that way. Let's say I want to do just some select ones. What you do in this case is you deselect this little chain here. You see how that's no longer linked. And I can say change this one right here, and maybe I want to change one down here. Oops. So there's that handy little tool. And that is enough for this particular lesson. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save. And that's that.